Greetings, this is the Crunchy Set, and this is part 2 of What If Female Deku Was a Ghoul. Now, some of you, I think I confused some of you with why I explained when I said that Hizashi was killed by the CCG, but I also said that ghouls were allowed into UA. So I'm going to explain that here real quick. So there are two separate factions to the CCG. There's the main faction of the CCG, which are the ones who allow ghouls to help them during their investigations, and have the artificially created half ghouls with them. And then there's a secondary faction who have made it their personal mission to wipe ghouls off of the face of the earth. And Tadashi was killed by the secondary faction. So their factions have two separate names. The main one is still the central. I think it was the I forgot its name, but the other one is the second faction is known as the CCG Ghoul Extermination Squads. So basically, they'll go around eliminating ghouls if they see them, without any mercy. Also, I saw a few questions on the last part, so I'll bring them up as well. So specifically, this question here by Swish, of if Deku will be a Kakuja. Yes, she will have her own Kakuja, but will be later on in the series, so be sure to look out for that. And then there was a comment by Shadowhunter here for her ghoul code name, which will be Dragonfly. Now, I don't want to use ghoul code names just yet, so if you guys have any code names you'd like to suggest, do leave them down in the comments. And without further ado, let's get back into the what if. So, we pick up the day after Izumi had eliminated that ghoul that was trying to attack her. Now, Izumi, like Eto, does make her own books, but sometimes she does write quite complicated books like Eto does, and a lot of people do enjoy them. And she is also being taught by her. She's also taking combat training, which is being taught by her instructor. And this is her instructor, and yes, this is a gender-bent image of Heisei from Tokyo Ghoul Ari. Just roll with it. Hold on. Sorry about that, continuing forward. As Izumi is being trained by her instructor, they do begin to get a bit more serious, as Izumi does accidentally end up impaling them with her Kakuja, as Izumi would immediately retract it, as she'd run over to check to see if her instructor was okay, with her immediately getting backhanded by her instructor's Kagune, which is I'll say it's a Binkaku. So her instructor's Kagune is a Binkaku, and yes, I know they look like Heisei, but trust me on this. But if you want me to change it to a Rinkaku, I can. So she gets smacked by her instructor's Kagune, as her instructor would then say, "You need to stop letting your guard down and checking to see if your opponent is okay, because that will leave you open to a counterattack." As Izumi would then get back into a fighting stance, as they would continue. As this would go on for a couple of hours, as once they were finished, they began to have a discussion, with Izumi telling her instructor that she wishes to join UA, with her instructor saying that will be quite difficult, though I do believe you can get into it. You have the potential to get into UA, because I mean, come on, you're smart and you're quite powerful as well. Your father would be very proud of you. As Izumi would say, yeah, he probably would be. This would go on for a couple years, as the last day of high school would roll about, as she went to the same high school as Bakugo, as Izumi's teacher would say, "Alright, it's time for you to fill out these application sheets for your jobs in the future." As he then throws the papers up into the air, he'd say, "Just kidding, I know you all want to be heroes or ghoul investigators." As everybody starts using their quirks, as he would say, yes, all your quirks are quite flashy. Oh, it appears we have 2 people who wish to attend UA. Well, as Bakugo would yell, who the hell else is planning on going to UA? I'm the only one who, from this trashy high school, that'll even make it and have a chance of getting into UA. Now, as he would say, their teacher would say, so Izumi Midoriya is planning on going to UA. As everybody would look back at Izumi and begin to laugh. Now, nobody in their school knows that Izumi is a ghoul, so they think, and since she doesn't have a quirk, they all believe that she is quirkless. As Bakugo would then explode Izumi's desk, as he'd say, "You don't have a chance of getting into UA. You die during the entrance exam." Sorry about that. As Izumi would then say, "Well, it wouldn't hurt for me to try, now would it, Katsuki?" As Bakugo is scared because Izumi's never called him Katsuki, so he knows that he's messed up. Like, you've messed up when one of your hold on. Alright, so sorry about that. Anyway, when Izumi called Bakugo by his full name, Bakugo immediately felt a large amount of fear in him. As he'd basically go back to his desk, and everybody else would head back to their desk as well, because Izumi just scared the crap out of Bakugo. I almost called him Bakugo, but then again, he's all bark, no bite. Anyway, continuing. The end of the day would come about. Now, Izumi does wear an eye patch, sort of like how Kaneki did when he first like Kaneki in the anime, to cover up her ghoul eye. As she does take the same path as Izumi did, as Deku did in canon, where the sludge villain would show up, as the sludge villain would say, "Hey you kid, I need your body, give it to me now." As Izumi would say, how about no? As she would immediately activate her Yukaku and just slice the sludge villain to ribbons, and then used her Rinkaku to slam him into the walls to pin the sludge down. As she would have heard the manhole cover move, as she would have immediately disabled her Kagane, as All Might would burst through the rubble, not the rubble, the manhole, as you'd say, "There's nothing to fear. Why? Because I am here." As Izumi would look over to him, as she'd say, "Oh, it's you. Anyway, the sludge villain is over here, here, and there, so I'll just leave him to you. See ya." As Izumi would immediately walk off. As All Might would be quite surprised that somebody could be so nonchalant about him appearing. And anyway, All Might then gets the sludge villain in the bottle and taken to the police station. As Izumi would have gone home, as she would tell Inko about what happened, including the sludge villain trying to attack her, but she defeated him fairly easily. As Inko would say that she is very proud of Izumi, but she needs to be sure that she's careful, because there's going to be one day where there's going to be someone who might be stronger than her, and she will get hurt. As Izumi would say, I know about that, Mom, which is why I'm always very careful whenever I'm out in public, including around some CCG members, because you don't know which ones are which. Anyway, continuing forward, Izumi would then go through 10 months of training, including going out hunting for basically any ghouls who harm humans. So those are mainly the types of ghouls she hunts. She doesn't hunt any humans. She's never hunted a human in her life. She always goes for ghouls. Anyway, continuing forward. And the 10 months of training would come to pass with Izumi's instructor wishing her the best of luck in the entrance exams. As once she gets to the gates of UA, she immediately heads to the door, which is indicated with an S. No, with a G. Yeah, with an S. And this S is usually for ghouls and all that, but UA doesn't really have that high a percentage of ghouls in their classes. So I'd say out of the entirety of UA, about 0.5% of UA's population are ghouls. So not a lot. As Izumi would enter through that door, as a blue-haired boy would walk up and grab Izumi by her shoulder, as he would say, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but that door is only... Excuse me, but that door is for ghouls only." As Izumi would look back at Ida, as she would lift up her eye patch a little bit, as she'd say, "You want to test that theory, buddy?" As her eye would turn red, as she's basically glaring at Ida, as he'd immediately let go of her shoulder, as Izumi would then enter. As the ghoul exam is sort of similar to to the UA entrance exam, with a written portion and a physical portion, except in the physical portion they're not fighting robots, but they're fighting I'll say they're fighting members of the CCG who aren't killing ghouls. I mean, they do still kill ghouls who have committed crimes that deserve death and all that. So continuing forward, hold on. Anyway, Izumi is the only one in that exam. So she'd write out the exam, and she'd do the written portion, and she would pass with flying colors. As once they get to the physical portion, Izumi is in her ghoul costume. So since she had it made before, so she had the robe made, but she just wrapped herself up in bandages like this, like her entire body. As she would then activate her Rinkaku and her Yukaku, as she would then begin her physical portion, with her basically knocking out the members of the CCG who are basically points in the exam. So they have separate CCGs, so they have the third class investigators, second class investigators, and first class investigators in there. But they also have special, I think it was like special class investigator, which are the highest ranking. If I remember correctly, in the CCG. Yeah, they have those, and they are worth about 5 points. So Izumi would be taking out a bunch of first, second, and third rank investigators, and she would have enough points to pass. And there were also some civilians that were stuck under rubble, so Izumi would use her Rinkaku to help them out of the rubble. As a special investigator would walk through the smoke from the where the civilians are trapped, as they would pull out their Quinke, I think it was called, yeah. And their Quinke is sort of like Heisei's in Tokyo Ghoulari with the katana and all that. As Izumi would rush towards them, as she would be using her Yukaku and her Rinkaku in unison to block the attacks from every direction. Now this one is wearing a mask, so she can't really tell who it is. As she would punch them at full force in the stomach, and then use her Rinkaku to smack them in the face. As this would cause the mask to fall off, and the special investigator to fall to the ground. As an alarm would go off, as time would announced to be up. As Izumi would walk over to help the special investigator up, as when she looked at the special investigator, that it was her mentor, as her mentor would have said, "Congratulations, Izumi. You've just passed the entrance exam. Welcome to UA." And that is where I'm going to be ending this part off. I do hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time. Ta-ta!